How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I hope all of you are having an amazing day. Today we're going to be speaking about my top 20 champions that made the biggest impact on my account in 2023. And we're not just going to be heading into the index and speaking about their kits, but I'm also going to showcase how I built them, also their masteries, and why I feel like they made the biggest impact in specific areas. And I thought it would be really cool for you guys to get involved as well in the comment section of maybe the top 5 champions this year that made the biggest impact on your accounts. Now, also for anyone that's been on my community page, I actually put one out for a poll about Zargala and Gallic having a snowball fight and who you thought was going to win. And I think it was around 75% was Team Zargala. And you know what? I can't even go against that because every single time I'm looking at this, right? Gallic is always getting hit on the ground, like every few minutes. So, Rate, please, before the year comes to a close, or before you change the Bastion, just let us know. What's the deal here? Who actually wins it? I need to have those answers. The most important stuff. And also, did any of you guys get lucky for this event? For anyone going for the Gwendolyn? It's a 2x chance for Mythicals. That's pretty cool, right? I just don't have any shots. I was actually contemplating, should I treat myself this year and, you know, summon a bunch of Mythicals? I don't know, I'm in two minds, but you guys can let me know what you think about that. And I've got no shards as well because I actually went for the Hero's Path, the one for the Blizzard Soul. And I used all of my resources. Like, I had no gems at the time, no silver. I used all of my chickens. I summoned all my shards. It was a crazy time. And I just let my children let loose. Like, they summoned everything. But, you know, just to kick off this video, get in the mood a little bit, summon a bit of a sacred shard here, and we got a Rhyme Beast. Okay, and 2,000 cookies. Can we get something cool for this event? Let's see. New Year's Deck of Fate, let's go bang in the top left, and we got a 3-star chicken. Well, it's a bit worse than the 4-star chicken in the Rain Beast, right? He used to be top tier, by the way. Okay, let's kick this off, man. I'm really excited for this one. So the first one, of course, is going to be Mr. Sniktraak. Phenomenal champion. I've been banging on about this dude since I pulled him, right? And he's just so versatile. Think about so many areas, including Amius the Lunar Archon. He was up there as an MVP for me. To keep my tank alive in Venomage, and, you know, plays a crucial role. Outside of that, very strong for the Hydra boss in my Nightmare team, which I also posted on my community page. Bringing in those fundamentals, right? Such as decreased speed, a protected shield if those targets that attack you, well, if you're under reflect damage, with this A3, will reflect that leech back onto them, allowing you to heal. Pretty cool. We've got an ally protection and a self-heal as well, very similar to Tarogi the Frog, and an A1 decreased attack that can go through Poison Cloud as well, granted the target is under leech because it happens before attacking. So great for stuff like the Head of Wrath, right? I just think he plays so many fundamentals, great champion, and the way that I built mine is a Guardian build. We're trying to absorb that damage being an ally protector, and it plays out very good for my team. We've kind of focused on HP percent. We got accuracy on the chest plate. I'm just trying to reach those high thresholds for some of the higher floors, right? But overall, it was mainly for the speed substat, if I'm being completely honest. Like, how can I turn that off, right? Like, 28 speed. We got speed on the boots, you know, focusing on some accuracy here as well with some speed substats and some defense around the board. Overall stats on my Sniktraak is as so. 78,000 HP, 4,000 defense, and 255 speed, going at pretty good accuracy as well, and crit rate and crit damage isn't something that I'm focusing on with my Sniktraak build, but you could consider maybe going a bit of resistance as well. You know, I've got 200, so if I've got decreased accuracy out there, I can resist some of the heat coming my way, right? But definitely up there. And also, this is in no particular order, guys. I'm just speaking about my experiences with these champions and how they made those impacts, right? Next up is going to be an epic champion. Huge shout out to Saf, who actually put me onto her. And it's going to be Whisper in a relentless build. Now, how did she change my account? I'd say in two main areas. One is going to be a Skraank the Dark Fae, because of the way she can go into an extra turn cycle and absolutely exceed someone like a Coldheart with their max HP when you combine all the damage together. Outside of that, I've got an amazing soul in a 5-star, which I've actually gone with the Phantom Touch. And she's in my main Phantom Shogun's team as well, which is phenomenal. Like, if you stay tuned towards the end of the video, I'll be more than happy to showcase it. Like, she wasn't someone I thought would have tremendous value, but it turns out that she's someone that I use a lot. Even in, like, City of Sintranos, Secret Rooms, and the Faction Wars as well, plays a phenomenal role. So to kind of pair with the synergies of her extra turn mechanics, right? Because you can ignore full defense here, self-amplification of increased attack and increased crit rate, extra turns here as well, granted they're under these debuffs, and the extra turn with the passive as well. It just pairs perfectly, right? And then we've got crit damage on the gauntlets, we've got attack percent on the chest plate, I should be having a 6-star on it, but it's completely fine. And overall stats, we have gone for decent sustainability, 6.5k attack, 228 speed, which is speed tuned for certain areas, 70% crit rate because she does increase crit rate, right? So we don't have to have 100% on that skill. And what was the other one, sorry? Accuracy, you could argue that you want a bit higher, right, to place those weakens, but 9 times out of 10, I've got other champions to fulfill those roles, and a good amount of crit damage here. So definitely someone that shined this year. Next up is probably going to be, in my opinion, the best fusion of 2023, and it's going to be Gnut. Where is he? There he is. Do I even need to speak about his whole kit? Probably not. Bless Bash, enemy max HP, 3-time hitter. Talk about the ultimate boss killing ability. Great for Hydra, great for clan boss, great for dungeons, the city of Sintranos. 9 times out of 10, if you're in an area and Gnut's available, you're probably going to bring him in, right? He's also got an AoE decrease attack and weaken with a counterattack, and an A1 to manipulate the freeze of the Fire Knight Hard, or just like a Terminator reduction if they're immune to freeze. And you know, it's just really good to have that one or the other, 100% chance, very, very powerful. And also an accuracy in dungeons by 80 for anyone that's struggling to get to those thresholds. Now, the way that I built Gnut is probably not ideal for most players doing the Hydra boss. I know players like to go Relentless or maybe the Reflex to proc that max HP more consistently and lead to more damage. But unfortunately, I couldn't get to the right accuracy thresholds and the right speed thresholds being over 250 in the right damage and all of that good stuff considering as well. So I've kind of been lured into this one until I farm a bit more Ice Golem. But all in all, a great build that carries into so many areas for me. And the masteries, we've gone down to the Giant Slayer. There we go. Because it's got that triple hit A1, right? And just the support tree as well. I guess like with the Whisper, I didn't show you hers as well. I'm going to try and remember all of them. Before you say, YST, what are you doing, buddy? I've gone down to War Master for her. Works out pretty good for me because I use her in lower tier Hydra as well. Great masteries. And Sniktraak was... Sniktraak, buddy, where are you? I literally started the video off saying, we're going to do all the masteries, and I didn't show them. We're going down to the War Master. And then we've also got the support tree, heading down to the lasting gifts to try and extend the value of his buffs that he's bringing to the table. And also heading down that left side to add to his heal values. So, a pretty cool build for Sniktraak there as well. Next up is going to be a free champion. We got Son Wukong, right? The Monkey King. Phenomenal champion. Like, I built him in a hybrid one because I'm like, ooh, I love using him in like the lower tier Hydra difficulties such as hard, you know, to get some really good clash points. I also want to do some crazy damage in, you know, I use him in my Minotaur's Labyrinth for a speed farm in like 20 or so seconds. Shout out to Tyraku on that one. I also use him in, you know, the City of Sintranos or some of the Doom Tower stuff if I want to, and the Faction Wars. So I do want to implement some damage in there as well. Even in the live arena, probably my top 1 pick. Now, what he comes down to is that surplus damage that he does, right, with his A2. Phenomenal, whilst being one of the only champions, if not the only, yeah, he's still the only one, right, that can actually place sheep as a debuff, you know, baz to all of your enemies. Was that a good sheep impression? Not too sure. We got AoE block buffs, we got stealing of buffs as well, when an A1 to place a stun, and he kind of does that self-revive ability, right? Great for stuff like, you know, live arena once again, or cheesing bomb with a Dreadhorn, just has versatile value. And I've gone with the Lightning Cage as my blessing here. Masteries, we've gone out to the Helm Smasher. Thought that was pretty significant, right? Trying to ignore some defense, whilst having some support for his debuff values. And overall stats, we've gone for 41,000 HP, 5.3k attack, which is decent, but not heavily invested into attack, right? 224 speed, I would love for this to be higher. 100% crit rate, 260% crit damage, and a decent amount of accuracy to carry it wherever I want to in the game. Of course, you could go like full perception and, you know, full out accuracy and do all of his crazy value from his A3, right? Or his A2 to sheep. I just love seeing him nuke people in arena, so this is the way that I love to build mine. Next up is actually going to be another free champion, Artak, right? Came from Call of the Arbiter. Where are you, buddy? Do I even have a soul on Artak? I'm actually interested. Actually, no, I must do because I remember doing Brimstone at some point. Where is he? You guys are probably screaming, YST, he's right in front of your face. There we go. Do I still have Brimstone? I do. Okay. Probably not the best having AoE abilities. Traditionally, I like to have it on my single target to pick exactly where I want it to go, but in some instances, it works out pretty fine. So what makes me really want to love this champion? Well, it's mainly the Dogs of War, because I don't really have any detonators for burn, and he goes through, instantly activates those HP burns on each enemy, great for the spiders, whilst also placing a decreased attack, which I also use in the Hydra. He's got a burn of his own and an extension on the A1 as well, and he's just a phenomenal champion to have for free. My build, probably not the best in the world. I've kind of gone stats over sets here, with the exception of some Righteous and Perception. And I'm going with 80,000 HP, 2.6k defense, 252 speed, which is speed tuned for spiders. Crit rate and crit damage could probably have some more optimization, but works out fine for where I use him. And 320 accuracy. Our masteries, we're heading down to the War Master, of course, and also the support tree. A bit of Cycler Magic, try and proc some stuff more consistently. And also the Master Hexer to extend the value of those burns, right? Pretty phenomenal. So next up here is going to be Skraank, who's an epic champion, who was actually on my Secret Weapons series, which I'd love to bring back to life in 2024. Skranky boy, where are you, buddy? Skraank. I should just use the filter for the entirety of the time. Where is he? There he is. Now, Skraank, maybe he's not got the best build in the world optimized for him, like Cruel and stuff, and because he has some godlike multipliers all around the board in terms of damage. Because what it comes down to is a self-heal, an increased attack as well when attacking targets under burn. He places that AoE burn whilst also filling his turn meter. A weaken on the A1 and a Pyromania passive to increase his attack and his crit damage by 5% every time a HP burn debuff triggers on an enemy and will stack up to 25%. Like, once you bring all this synergy together, he turns out to be a wrecking machine, great burner, I highly recommend him. The way that I built him in stats-wise is decent HP, 4.4k attack. I would definitely love to invest more. But with the way that I'm switching around builds all the time, sometimes I need to prioritize other ones for other champion guides. 214 speed, 100% crit rate, 240% crit damage, and good accuracy at 333. Masteries, we've gone down to the War Master. Kaboom. I have to keep moving myself out of the way. Do you know what, guys? Let's make a deal. Whenever it's War Master, I don't need to move myself, right? It's literally going to go down there. I'll stay otherwise. And then also the support tree, I'm heading down to the Master Hexer and the Sniper. Mainly for his A1, right? Because there's not a 100% chance of placing that weaken if they're not under burn. So, it's just worth having that in there. Next up is going to be another epic champion, trying to mix it up a little bit. We got Vogoth. I've actually got 3 bit on my account, or 2. Maybe 2 6 stars and 1 5-star. And for anyone that's familiar with Bomb of the Dreadhorn, those Dread Bombs, if you don't have a Gnishak Verminlord, Vogoth is really phenomenal for that, right? Like, every time I make a bomb or guide without Gnishak, it's who can you replace Vogoth with, right? Because he's got such a unique passive, like this one here. The Festering Dynamo. Whenever this champion is attacked, will heal all allies by 50% of the damage received. And it'll be 25% against bosses, granted, but the Dread Bombs are not the boss. Bomb is the boss, so you're getting that full 50% heal value. It's a really cool one. Also for Clan Boss, he's got that leech as well when he's attacked. Very consistent. A debuff extension, but also an AoE provoke. I think the ways that I use him is the Secret Room nowadays. Also in the City of Sintranos, I found myself using Vogoth quite a lot. And he's just a really cool one to have in your account to tank some hits, even in stuff like the Griffin, for example. It's like whenever I want to tank, for my team, Vogoth does find himself into those teams every now and then. So I would definitely say it was a game changer this year. Our masteries have gone down to the Giant Slayer. Boom, there we go. We had to move ourselves, and the defensive tree as well. But if you're focusing on those extensions, you may want to consider going into the support tree, right? Very flexible. But I do have a few in like different builds and stuff. I believe my other one was... Do you know how many do I have? I'm interested now. I've got 2 maxed up. All right. So this one with my main one is in Guardian, guys. Right? So Guardian, trying to absorb that damage. And once again, Never Spider as well. Somewhere that I definitely use Vogoth. Great passive for that. Next up, do you know, if we're speaking about Clan Boss, something I do every day, although I'm not a huge fan of Unkillable, since they made that change with the Clan Boss feature to instantly quick battle, right? I've had to switch into this Unkillable build, which, it's the only one I can full auto at the moment, and it's just easy to build. But Demytha, I've got her in a solo composition in the sense of I don't have a Fushan in the lead or a Deacon Armstrong, which allows me to have 2 forms of DPS. Granted, one of them has to be Force, so my Heiress can not tank the stun, right? But Demytha is basically all about the speeds, right? We got 321 speed, 100% crit rate, decent crit damage. We got cruelty on her as well. And it comes down to the Light of the Deep, right? Or the Channel of the Bloodline. Places that block damage on a 3-turn cooldown. That's all I need to make my speed tune, paired with the Heiress to cleanse those debuffs to keep us affinity friendly. We've gone down to the War Master tree and also the support, mainly just so she doesn't get stunned with the Steadfast Mastery, but outside of that, I didn't even finish off the Masteries. It just shows how powerful this champion is, right? But I should definitely get onto that, even though I don't probably need it. Next up here is actually going to be, we're heading back to the Legendaries. I don't think there was any rares this year that made a significant value, but I might give some honorable mentions. It's going to be Marichka the Unbreakable. Now, I've never made a guide on this champion. Not sure why, mainly just because not everyone might have one, right? But back then I actually had, I'd say about 6 to 8 months ago, I had a back-to-back pull of Yumeko and Marichka. It was crazy, right? The way that I built her is decent HP, great defense, crit rate and crit damage I'm not caring about, nice resistance at 600 and 260 speed. So definitely more of a foundation I can layer onto her to give her more value. But what it comes down to is primarily the passive with the Giving All, because it will revive all dead allies with 50% HP and 75% turn meter whenever this champion is killed, whilst also countering bombs, poison and HP burn such as Gaius the Gleeful or Gnishak Verminlord. Actually plays out very well to my advantage in the live arena, probably one of my top picks there. So I'd say that's probably my primary area for Marichka, to be fair, is live arena, and without her, I definitely have to make some alterations to the team that I'm using, because I've got Duchess Lilitu as my primary reviver in a Stone Skin build. If everybody gets nuked, Marichka will bring them back, Duchess will then bring her back, and if they kill me again, then she'll bring back the Duchess and so forth, and it's like an endless cycle. Outside of that, I would say for my my personal record on the Hydra boss was Marichka in the team over a Duchess, because she brings in those cleanses, those restoration of max HP, those heals, those shields, the strengthens, you name it, and it's also protected with that strengthen, so it cannot get stolen, with this A1 ally attack, which is great as well for damage. I just think overall, great leader, very versatile, definitely made an impact this year. Next up is going to be the Yumeko / Kymar, built very similar, so I'm not going to go through both. But, you know, perception, build, speed, and accuracy. The primary things that we do with these reset champions, right? Mine is going at 340 on that speed there. 600 accuracy, which is pretty decent, and nice sustainability. Before we talk about that, we got masteries here. Marichka, sorry guys. Defensive down to the Unshakable and the support tree as well, with the max HPs, heading down to Spirit Haste. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Yeah, masteries of Yumeko anyway. We got the defensive tree and also the support tree heading down to the Eagle Eye. Phenomenal. And what it comes down to is the Hex debuff. You place it on like the Dragon 10 hard. You puts the poison on us, and then he now has that chance to send all of those poisons back. So Yumeko is great in that sense. Also works for Bomb of the Dreadhorn. You can send those bombs back because it's before the instance, but just at a 30% chance against bosses. I'm also against Siffi the Lost Bride in Arena when she keeps sleep chaining me. All I have to do is just put a Hex on her and she ends up sleeping herself, so it's a great counter to those annoying A1 crowd controlling champions. But the primary reason is decreasing the cooldown of all ally skills, whilst also increasing the cooldown of enemy skills, but also other champions such as Kymar can reset her, and it's like a crazy cycle. So yeah, definitely one of the best champions on my account to coincide with that Prince Kymar, right? Which I'll briefly just show you it. Kymar. There we go. So Prince Kymar, very similar build, high speed, high accuracy, very similar masteries and all of that good stuff. And I kind of use them both together in the Doom Tower as well to reset each other and kaboom, 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 Seer Explosion and happy days, right? Next one, you probably wouldn't have thought I was going to say this one, to be fair. It's going to be Corvis the Corrupter. Oh wait, he's right there. I'd have to search him this time. So Corvis the Corrupter is someone that I use in my Ice Golem team, also in some of the City of Sintranos, and, you know, just if I ever need poison, Corvis comes into the team. Like with this A3 here with the Field Research, attacks all enemies 2 times, and each it will have a 100% chance of placing 2 5% poison debuffs for 2 turns, coinciding with the poison sensitivity. Having this all-in-one skill is bonkers, guys. Like, that's 4 poisons, the way that it reads here with 2 hits, right, with the sensitivity on a 4-turn cooldown. You can also come through and extend those debuffs as well, whilst also increasing the duration of ally buffs, phenomenal for clan boss, and an A1 decrease attack. But one of the main reasons is decreases the damage by enemies under poisons received by up to 25%. And over the course of a battle, this can really keep you sustained, right, and allow you to tank hits that you may not have been able to prior. So very, very strong champion, I think very underrated. And I've gone with like a solo build for my Ice Golem with the regeneration all around the board. And the way that I solo the Ice Golem is as so. 236 speed, no crit rate and crit damage, not caring about that. High sustainability and high enough resistance so we don't get debuffed. And the masteries is all the way down into the Oppressor to increase the turn meter fill rate by 2.5% for each active debuff. Cast by this champion and stacks up to 10%, and also the defensive tree, which I've not finished off yet, but there we go. So heading into the next option is going to be the King of Bomb with the Dreadhorn in Gnishak Verminlord, which you could do those one-shot strategies. He's great for the dragon, great for faction wars. You name somewhere, he's just an absolute machine in terms of DPS, but also brings in some really cool fundamentals for like arena as well. Like we got a decreased attack, we got bombs, we got the extra damage from bombs as well against targets of higher max HP. A1 for more bombs as well. And also, every time a bomb debuff placed by this champion detonates or is removed, will place 2 5% poison debuffs for 2 turns that become protected. So it's just like a poison/bomb killing machine with decreased attack. He's just so versatile, right? Somebody that I could never live without on my account. The way that I built him is primarily for Bommel, and that same build carries into other areas. So we've got 232 speed, high attack at 6.4k. 473 accuracy, and decent crit rate and crit damage, nothing that I've heavily invested in. Masteries, because you've got an A1 Giant Slayer, we've gone down here. And also the support tree as well. So, Gnishak Verminlord, how many of you guys went for the fusion? Or how many of you summoned him? He's a great champion, right? Next up here is going to be, of course, Duchess Lilitu. A bit generic pick here, but she's been carrying me everywhere without me even thinking about it. Like, sometimes I'm like, if I didn't have Duchess in this area, would I really be able to fulfill what I want to do? And the answer was probably no. In some of those live arena battles, for example. But I have had the luxury of pulling 3 of these, but I only use 1. And this is not the primary one. Where is the primary one? The primary one is a stone skin one. So this one here. So the way that I built it is stone skin, of course. We're trying to tank those first turns in live arena or classic arena or whatever that may be. And the way that I've got her up here is a 76,000 HP, 3.7k defense, 551 resistance, and 243 speed. Nothing crazy that I've seen out there, but works for my account. Masteries, we've gone down to, down to the resist, trying to add to that, and also the support tree. And the main reason why I love this champion is the block debuffs and increased attack, phenomenal. That's also hiding them with a perfect veil for damage reduction. We've also got an AoE heal with continuous heals and veils, and a straight out damage reduction from AoE attacks with the Aerial Waves. It's like, she just brings in such a simple but effective kit that's so universal, has so much value, and very, very powerful, right? Probably one of the most sought after champions in Raid Shadow Legends. Next up here we have got Pythion, who was also a fusion that came out this year. And I would say like, the main area recently, probably Arena once again. I've definitely found myself using him there. But also in the Nether Spider, trying to cleanse off those spiderling poisons. Definitely in my main team there as well, with the AoE revivals. You talk about faction wars, you talk about Amius the Lunar Archon as well. Phenomenal champions, cleanses off those debuffs or places the block debuffs, whilst also healing your tank. In my case, which was Venomage. Very, very powerful champion, right? So we've gone with Stone Skin once again, very similar to the Duchess Lilitu. And the Masteries is heading down to the Resistance, right? Because I'm heavily invested into that. As you see here, we have got 500 resistance, 251 speed, high sustainability, and such a nuisance for your opposition to kill, right? He's so, do you know, I actually also use him in Eternal Dragon when we get the block active skills on our targets and the decreased defense and stuff. He's just very tanky and he can just resist everything, right? Very, very cool with the nice aura as well. Next up is going to be Riho Bonespear. I'm going to say for probably 2 places in the game. Riho, another Void Legendary. I know. But we're talking about my most used today. Where is she? My god, I was wrong. Oh, she's right there. It's like just before I go to search, they always pop up. So Riho Bonespear is somebody that I didn't use a lot, if I'm honest, since I pulled her. But when you talk about like the Clan Boss draft that I did with Jedi Hosts, right? I always feel like, oh, Riho Bonespear is the main pick here because she brings in so many debuffs, decreased attack, weaken, decreased defense, decreased crit rate, stuns, you name it. It's all in one ability, right? But I'd say the primary area is Sand Devil's Necropolis and also the Phantom Shogun's Grove with the new dungeon additions. She is just next to none. She puts everything that we want, that decreased crit rate is clutch for keeping our enfeebled tank alive, whilst also playing some fundamentals with block debuffs, removing debuffs, and also healing our allies. It's just a very, I would say unique champion. Not everybody can fill the roles that Riho Bonespear does. I've got in a swift parry build, primarily just for, I don't know, if she's about to take a hit, she can heal or something. I don't know what I was thinking. But, you know, we do get some speed out of that, I guess. We got 271 speed, which is speed tuned, 486 accuracy, and once again, I'll show you the Phantom Shogun team later, and also some decent survivability. Our mastery is heading down to the Eagle Eye for some more accuracy, and also the defensive tree for some sustainability. Next up here, we've got Harima, someone that I've not done a guide on, but I would love to at some point. I just felt like sometimes with these high-tier champions, I feel a bit bad about not showing crazy good builds, but at the same time, is it more relatable? I don't know, mine might be middle of the road. It's not a crazy cracked out build that you might have seen out there, because I don't have high star blessings or +4s. But I do have a built-in Savage, I do have a built-in speed, going at 182 speed, which I wish I can get faster. I just can't in my current build. 6.4k defense, which I put literally all of my best gear onto her in terms of defensive stats for Savage, as I traditionally stack like attack percent. 100% crit rate, 284% crit damage, and I don't really need accuracy because of this one. So cannot be resisted if they're from Demon Spawn. So when I'm trying to counter Duchess Lilitu or Kandrafons or Hefrax, she's able to come through, crowd control them, but also, you know, the way that her damage scales over time, and enemy ignore defense are decreased by 50%, and AoE provokes that can instantly activate if you kill somebody with this, to activate this one. Just a great arena champion, and also for waves as well. Like, she can ramp up, and she's actually very cool for Hydra boss as well. Very underrated for the lower stages. Our masteries, we have gone down to the Helm Smasher and also the defensive tree. You know, trying to add to that as well. And I feel like Helm Smasher is definitely the way to go on this champion. Phenomenal, phenomenal champ. So the next champion here is going to be Tuhanarak, that many of you guys may not have thought would be on my top 20 list for this year. But I generally believe that this is a bang-on champion for a guaranteed. I don't feel like she's super overpowered, but what she does it to a high caliber. Because what it comes down to is this decreased attack, and a block buffs on all enemies, and it also applies a debuff spread effect, taking 2 random debuffs from the target and placing it on all enemies. Now, it can get a little bit dicey if you're banking on the block buffs in the Hydra boss, right? There's definitely been times where she's prioritizing 2 of the random debuffs over the block buffs, and then Poison Cloud goes out, and before you know it, your run is going to the bin, right? But what I tend to do is I kind of target enemies that have the least debuffs up, or, you know, decapitated heads for instance, and then that way I can still get my block buffs coverage on manual, and it works out completely fine for me. She also has an increased speed and increased defense for tankiness, an A1 decreased speed with continuous heal, which actually works out good for a tank as well, if you build it with high resistance, for like mischief tanking. And also removes 1 random debuff from all allies at the start of each turn, very similar to Doom Priest, right? So it's like the legendary version of Doom Priest. Overall stats on her, we have gone for high speed, high resistance as well to tank, and high sustainability. And the mastery says War Master, just for that A1 for a bit of damage and A2, and also the support tree, trying to extend the value of our block buffs, right? Very important. So we're getting into like the next 3 here now. So the next one is actually going to be Venomage. Venomage for the Lunar Archon once again with Amius. I've actually taken off one of the pieces randomly, but that'll be going on very shortly. Primarily around perception builds, high accuracy, high survivability. But when you talk about secret rooms or the City of Sintranos once again as well, she's definitely come to fruition with that damage reduction passive, right? Phenomenal with that 15%. But she brings in those fundamentals of heal reduction, great for Nether Spider. Also the poisons, decreased attack, decreased defense, detonations of poisons as well, like a Dark Kale for instance. She is just such a great champion that is in this game. Like, I'd probably put her in like my top 5 in the game. Hands down, she's phenomenal. Masteries, we've gone out to the War Master and also the support tree as well. Plays out pretty good, right? We want that War Master damage, and she's also great for the Demon Lord clan boss for anyone that's progressing. I definitely highly recommend her. Next up is going to be Baron, another Void, a legendary. We've got a Savage build, probably one of my best builds on my account in terms of, you know, boosting up my accessories and my artifacts with the Ascensions. As you see here, some pretty cool pieces. And he is going at 7.5k attack, and without any kind of full star blessings or +4s or anything. That's actually a pretty good build for me. Right? 180 speed-ish, 290% crit damage. And what it comes down to is the Sky Piercer. Attacks all enemies, will ignore shield buffs and also block damage buffs, as well as 50% of the target's defense. And once you start pairing Savage and the Helm Smasher as well, you know what's going to happen. They're going to get nuked, right? We've also got that surplus damage on the A1, which is good for like record times in Sintranos or Secret Rooms or Doom Tower, for people that's into that. A decreased defense that is guaranteed as well, and also some nice damage coming out from the Righteous Charge, but primarily all about the Sky Piercer for speed farming in the classic arena. Masteries, of course, we're going down to that Helm Smasher, and also the defensive tree to try and counterattack to proc that surplus damage, which has definitely clutched me some wins in the past. So, great champion, he had a great buff, and somebody that I use every single day when farming the classic arena. So last but not least for this official list is going to be Michinaki, the Hex Master, right? Talk about spiders, talk about Hydra boss, or any kind of bosses. It's just very, very cool. I really wish I invested in a better build in him, but it still performs very good for Nightmare Hydra, because I got crit rate on the gauntlets. I guess I'm just very limited in terms of Relentless gear on my account, so I need to get onto that. But the way that I got him built is decent survivability, 4,000 defense, 216 speed, 100% crit rate, 150% crit damage, and high enough accuracy for Hydra boss, right? Masteries, we've gone down to the War Master, and also the support tree. And what it comes down to is the double degeneracy. Placing that Hex debuff, we've got those extra turns as well with Relentless, decreased defense, decreased attack, A1 burns, and mainly this A1 that can join an ally's attack as well if they're under Hex. And it just leads into some crazy damage in the right team compositions. So definitely Michinaki makes the list today. So I guess that was it for like my top 20 guys of the ones that made the biggest impact on my accounts. But that's not to say that other champions haven't played crucial roles, right? I talk about Mithrala Lifebane, she is phenomenal, or Geomancer for the burns for the Iron Twins Fortress, right? But in terms of just a few rares briefly at the end as well, I'd say Soulbound Boya was phenomenal in a stun set. You can see I don't even have it fully ranked up, but there were some flaws I couldn't do without her. I only ranked her up because I got a blessing. Renegade is pretty cool. I'd say Cold Heart, of course, you know, the Dark Fae puts in a phenomenal job, and also Ares for my clan boss team. Outside of that, I probably don't use many of them, but of course there's many other epics as well that I could have mentioned, but just not in my top 20 for this year. So I guess before we wrap up the video, let's just go into the team that I promised in my Phantom Shogun. So the way that it works is we've got our Enfeebled tank in Vassal of the Seal. We got our debuffs from our champion in Riho Bonespear, of course, placing those fundamental debuffs. We got our damage coming out from Whisper. 3, 2, 1, anchor, boom, at 374,000 damage. There's those extra turns as well with those Phantom Touch. There's the equalizing of HP. He's now going to extend it. We're going to reset, cleanse that off with Riho Bonespear. Max HPs come in. Last damage comes out from Whisper. And it's a nice, comfy 30-second farm, right? So you can see that many of these champions are playing some crucial roles to speed farm this, which is pretty cool. Yeah, on that note, guys, that is going to be all for today's video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know in the comment section below who was your Ride or Die champions in 2023. And I don't know if this is going to be my last video for this year as well. So if it is, I just want to wish you all a Happy New Year's and all of that good stuff. You have been amazing. And also, if you check out my thank you video that I posted a few days ago, there's a juicy giveaway in there for anyone that may not have got involved yet. So definitely check that out. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you all in a video soon. Peace.